So we'll get started in just a few with covering this week's material. Do you have any quick questions you might want to ask while we're waiting?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So let's just give it a few just in fairness to the clock. Got about 5 minutes. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm sharing the screen. Are you able to see that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm going to talk about the project in lecture on Wednesday. So I think we can hold our discussion on that to lecture class because you typically attend. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. That's fine.
Okay. So what I'll go into are the two overviews here on waves and simple harmonic motion so that um, you know what we're dealing with this week. So, waves was a topic that we just finished dealing with in lecture class. So you're going to be doing an experiment regarding waves. You'll be looking at the different types of waves, the properties of waves, period, frequency, amplitude, wavelength, uh, by using our simulator. And then, of course, then after you're done with that, you'll have a lab report to write and a post lab to do. So let's take a look at the experiment. So I have here used the new HTML5 simulator in the link, and that is because at one time that experiment was using an older simulator, but they've updated it so you won't have any issue when you open it. It'll look just like what you're used to seeing in terms of a in terms of how we utilizing a simulator to hit the big red 5, just like you normally do. All right. So before you begin the simulator, it asks you to answer some questions so that you can have exposure to the background regarding waves. But again, we covered it in a lecture, so you could utilize that information to help you answer these questions. Of course, you know that you do have access to the same materials under required readings and viewings that can help you as well. Okay. When you get to the part 2, open up the simulator, click the big red 5. My suggestion to you is to try the various bells and whistles to help you, you know, get comfortable utilizing the simulator. Once you played around with it for a little bit, then go ahead and start the actual experiment, which is in part B. Okay. So then you'll use the simulator to help you. I will tell you this on this experiment, be sure that you pay attention and answer all the questions that it asks throughout, because sometimes students move quickly and forget to answer, questions like those that are being posed here, for example, and in other places throughout the report, they experiment. Okay. So your completed handout is your data and analysis, and then you have to write a good abstract and a conclusion. Don't forget, when you write an abstract, under how you did it, you should be telling me the website that you used. Okay. Any questions on that lab report for waves that you have to complete?
No, ma'am.
All right. And then, of course, you got a post lab discussion. Since it's you and me here today, I've been scoring your postings. If you do everything, you've been getting 5s. I think there was one of them where you only replied to one person, but
Yeah, I just forgot to go back and
no
do it since
problem.
I was the second person.
Right, right. So I scored it accordingly, but as we talked about, because you're the only one coming to lab, you're the only one eligible for full credit on the discussions. Okay. All right. So that pretty much takes care of the waves overview. Now we can go into the simple harmonic motion, and this focuses on the pendulum and Hooke's law, the two other topics that we've dealt with in lecture class. We just finished dealing with. So you'll be, investigating the properties of a pendulum, looking at the period and the frequency and so on, so forth and so on. Same thing for Hooke's law. You'll be looking at how that, um, utilizing springs to get an understanding of Hooke's law and and energy in as it pertains to those springs. Um, so uh, when you're doing this experiment, you'll pay particular attention to these kinds of areas, because you should walk away having having a deeper understanding of Hooke's law after completing the experiment. All right. Now, here's the thing. The Hooke's law, experiment, lab report, post lab are bonus items. So if you do the Hooke's law experiment, post lab, you're eligible for a total of 15 bonus points. Okay. I typically don't award any bonus points if you don't do the pendulum experiment and the pendulum discussion, because I feel like if it's bonus, you at least have to do the regular experiment to get it. So the pendulum experiment and post lab are your
Which one's the
normal.
bonus point? My headphone fell off my ear.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The Hooke's law experiment, lab report, and post lab are bonus items. But to be eligible for those bonus points, you have to do the pendulum experiment and discussion. Okay, the pendulum
Yes,
experiment, the
ma'am.
pendulum lab report, pendulum discussion. Um, so if you do both of them, you know you're eligible for a total of 15 bonus points. All right, and what I do is I add that bonus points to your pendulum lab score. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, ma'am. There's no final in this class, huh? It's just that
Yes, yes, there is. If you look at the
oh, there is.
weekly overviews, the final is next week. The project is due, and then the final.
Thank you.
Okay, so um, pendulum experiment, same routine. You got a simulator that you're going to be using. Okay, and so basically you follow the guidance that's been given in the handout to set it up, fill in the tables. Okay, and so just whatever they ask you to do, you complete the handout. Okay, now notice in step number 7, you're going to be utilizing the tables 1, 2, and 3 to make graphs. Okay, and I'll be looking to see if if you do good graphs. That's the main thing. All right. So for the pendulum, you write your typical lab report, and you have your post lab to complete. Let me see for Hooke's law if I have you. Yeah, that one too. So um, when you click on the Hooke's law experiment, be sure to let's see if they got that. Okay, okay. When you go to the simulator, make sure you use the HTML5. Let's see, they may have that one already. Yeah, see this is the screen I'm talking about, because if you go hit that legacy version, then the simulator won't match the experiment handout. So okay, take you to the HTML5 version, and then there you go. Okay, and then so you're gonna utilize whatever settings they tell you to go into, and see. So you put it on whatever setting there that they want you to. Okay. So my suggestion to you is when you come into here, play around with it a bit, get comfortable, and then go ahead and complete the experiment handout. And then you have a lab report and post lab to do. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So if you're working and you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on Wednesday in lecture. We'll talk about the project. I have pretty much covered everything that you need for, in terms of this week for this class. So shy of you reaching out to me and say, hey, I got some specific questions for lab, maybe we could spend a few minutes after lecture and take care of that for you. If not, then we can always just meet during our regular class time. Otherwise, we don't have to meet on Wednesday unless you need to meet with me during lab time on Wednesday. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna attend this weekend, so I'm gonna try to start on this stuff beforehand, so I might wind up having a question.
Okay. Yeah, that's no problem. Just reach out to me by email. I'm more than happy to answer your question. And if we can't get it done through email, then just reach out to me and say, hey, I got a couple of questions or whatever, and we'll work it out. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You have a good one.
You too. Stay safe.
All right. Bye now. Mr. Tyler Caps was the only student who showed up today. So um, I will keep my mic open and stay here for another 5 to 10 minutes or so, and then I'm going to end the class, and I'll post a recording showing the meeting that Tyler and I had today.